Turn to page 161 in your student books. Our content focus for this unit is toxic pollution. This is what the passage is about. What do you think you will learn in this passage? The type of the text is informational. This passage will give us information or facts. What will the information be about? The author's purpose is the reason that he or she wrote the text. Authors write for different purposes: to entertain, to persuade, and to inform or teach. Knowing an author's purpose can help a reader understand text better. We know this is an informational passage. So what can we assume is the author's purpose? Go ahead and write the answer on the line. We will revisit this question after we have read the text to see if the author had another purpose for writing. Coming clean about toxic pollution. What does that mean? First, let's look at the word toxic. If something is toxic, what is it? In this title, toxic is an adjective that describes or tells more about the word pollution. The word toxic is related to the word toxin, which is a kind of poison. It comes from the ancient Greek word toxikon, which means poison for arrows. Toxin is a noun that means poison. Toxic is an adjective that means poisonous. Understanding how words are related will help you become proficient readers. Now, let's consider the word pollution. What is pollution? Pollution is waste that includes smog, fumes, litter, poisonous gas, and so on. Based on that information, what do you think toxic pollution means? Toxic pollution is poisonous waste. Let's examine the title more clearly. Let's reread the first two words. Coming clean. What does coming clean mean? If we are coming clean about toxic pollution, we are telling the truth about poisonous waste. Let's look at the words in the title again. Which word means poisonous? Which word means waste? What phrase means to tell the truth? You will learn more about toxic pollution during this unit. Before we read the passage about toxic pollution, we will watch a short video to help us build background knowledge. Watch for 2 things that you did not know about pollution. You will share this information after the video. I'm going to go ahead and pause this video so that we can look at the background knowledge video. Now let's look at our big idea questions. How does toxic waste pollute air, land, and water? How can we help prevent toxins from harming plants, animals, and people? Let's discuss these questions. Now I want you to write an answer for those questions in your student books. We'll come back to these questions after we finish our exploration of toxic pollution. You will have more to add to your answers. You don't know enough to answer these questions completely, but you will by the end of this unit. You can edit your answers as you gain information. You will continue gaining independence with the text preview process, since good readers do this automatically and independently. We've talked about how informational text has specific text features that provide clues about the topic and other important information. We also learned that sometimes authors write for more than one purpose. Text features provide a big clue about the author's reason for writing. When looking at text features today, pay attention at how these features inform you as the reader. Also, pay attention to text features that may attempt to persuade you. Do the pictures teach you something, entertain you, or attempt to persuade you to do something? What about the bold font and the margin information? What kind of clues do they provide? Think about the author's purpose for writing the text while previewing text features. You're going to use the informational preview checklist on page 121 or 161 for your reference. Eventually, you will preview informational text without using the checklist at all. I want you to go ahead and preview the text using the checklist, and then I want you to predict what the passage will be about. Now turn in your books to page 162. We will rate our word knowledge again. The purpose of this activity is to recognize how familiar you are with this unit's key passage vocabulary. Let's review the vocabulary rating scale. Remember that 0 means you've never heard the word before. 1 means you've heard the word, but you're not sure how to use it. 2 means that you're familiar with the word, but you're not sure if you know the correct meaning. 3 means you know the meaning of the word and can use it correctly in the sentence. I'm going to read the list of words. As I read each word, I want you to repeat each word. I'm going to give you some time not only to repeat the word, but to rate your knowledge of each word. We're going to begin with spoil, destroy, substance, pollution, modern, device, variety, support. You've already discussed the words and rated your knowledge. Well, we've looked at the words and rated the knowledge. Now let's discuss the words. As we look at the words on the screen, I want you to go ahead and begin writing the definitions. I figured this would work better than methods we've used in the past. So let's look at the first word together. Spoil. Spoil means to harm or damage something. If you harmed or damaged something, what did you do to it? The rabbit spoiled the man's garden by nibbling on the vegetables. Too much rain spoiled the crops. They rotted in the ground. I spoiled my white shirt when I spilled tomato juice on it. Let's look at the next word together. Destroy. Destroy means to damage, ruin, or harm beyond repair. It can't be fixed. What is to ruin beyond repair? The wind and rain from a hurricane destroy buildings. It takes years to rebuild after a hurricane. Losing the race destroyed the runner's confidence. A wildfire can destroy homes, businesses, and animals. Let's read the next word together. Substance. Substance refers to what something is made from. A substance can be a liquid, such as water or gasoline, or a substance can be a powder. It could also be a gas, such as oxygen. What is something made from? Water is made from 2 substances, hydrogen and oxygen. The main substance in chocolate milk is milk. Paint can be made from many substances. Native Americans made paint from substances such as flower petals and dirt. Let's read the next word together. Pollution. Pollution is the waste or poisonous substances put into the air, water, or land. What is the waste or poisonous substances that are put into the environment? Air pollution can damage or hurt our lungs. It is caused by toxic gases in the air. Water pollution can be caused by chemicals we use on crops. Some pollution comes from the earth, such as ash from volcanoes or smoke from fires. Let's read the next word together. Modern. Modern means having to do with present time. What is something having to do with present time? Modern cars have GPS or Global Positioning System computer devices. A computer from the 1980s is like a dinosaur compared with a modern computer. Modern houses are built with new items, such as solar panels, to conserve energy. Let's read the next word together. Device. A device is a machine or tool that has a special use. What is a machine or tool with a special use? Students use electronic devices such as phones and music players. In the kitchen, I use a device to open cans. It was made for that purpose. The device I use to communicate with friends is a cell phone. My sister uses a different device to communicate, a computer. Let's read the next word together. Variety. Variety is a number of different kinds or types. What is a number of different kinds or types? I like to listen to a variety of music styles. When I went shopping for party dresses, the department store had the best variety. They had many different styles and colors to choose from. We saw a variety of fish at the aquarium. Let's read our final word together. Support. Support means to have what is needed to maintain or keep something going. What is it called to have what is needed to keep something going? Parents usually support their children. They give them food, water, shelter, and love to keep them alive. I couldn't get my computer to work, so I asked for support from the online technician. He supported me and got my computer running again. It takes a lot of money to support a smoking habit. Now turn in your book to page 163. You and your partner have already previewed, we've previewed the text together. Let's discuss some key points before we read. Text features can help readers identify the topic, which is the subject of the passage. What is the topic of this passage? Notice the pictures behind the title, Coming Clean About Toxic Pollution. What do you see? Where is the water coming from? Where is the water going? What does that black blob below the waterfall represent? Turn to the picture on the next page. What do you see? Remember that captions provide clues about the text. Put your pencil eraser on the caption while I read it aloud. Emissions from power plants react with sunlight and moisture to create acid rain. Emissions are pollutants that are released from factories. Scan the headings. What do you notice about the headings? Nonfiction text often has headings that divide the text into meaningful sections. Use the headings to tell me which sections are probably related to air pollution. Use the headings to tell me which sections are probably related to water pollution. Use the headings to tell me which sections are probably related to land pollution. What do you think the last section is about? Which text features did you use to find categories of information? Now let's go back briefly to page 161. Follow along as I read the questions under Reading for a Purpose aloud. Number 1, how does toxic waste spoil everything? Number 2, what are the results of air pollution? Number 3, what is smog and how is it made? Number 4, how does acid rain harm the environment? Number 5, where do toxins come from? Number 6, how can we prevent land pollution? Number 7, why does the author say it's time to come clean about toxic pollution? You will learn the answers to these questions in this passage. These questions provide a focus for reading as they identify the important facts and concepts within the text. Now turn back to page 163. Now it's time to read. Follow along with your eyes and your pencil eraser. Watch the words and use your pencil eraser while I read the text aloud. This will help your brain detect patterns. Let's review. Where are your eyes while I read? Where is your pencil? Eyes on text, pencil on words. While reading, you should also think about our two big idea questions. How does toxic waste pollute air, land, and water? And how can we prevent toxins from harming plants, animals, and people? Let's begin. Follow along with your pencil eraser as I read the text. Toxic waste. Toxic waste spoils everything. It destroys our land, water, air, plants, and animals. A toxic substance, even a small amount, can harm plant or animal life. Where does toxic waste come from? It can come from factories that make a wide range of products. It can come from pesticides sprayed on the land. When we throw things away, toxic substances get buried in our landfills. When it rains, toxic pollutants in the ground are washed into rivers, lakes, and oceans. How do these toxins impact our environment? I want you to share one thing you learned from that paragraph out loud. While reading, I was thinking that everything really does mean everything: land, water, air, plants, and animals. I learned that substances from factories and pesticides cause pollution. Your turn. Share your thoughts and one thing you learned with the class. Try to use one of the bold vocabulary words. While your classmate is talking, I want everyone else to listen carefully and ask questions to check your understanding. Now let's look at the next section. Air pollution. Toxins impact the quality of our air. Air supplies the oxygen we need. When toxic substances fill the air, we breathe them into our lungs. When the air is polluted, we breathe in harmful gases and fumes. We breathe in poison. We can't always see the pollution. Sometimes we see it as a dirty mist called smog. Household products like lighter fluid and aerosol sprays contribute to smog. The fumes that come from cars and trucks also make smog. Most modern cars have a device called a catalytic converter. This device treats the exhaust before the fumes leave the car, removing harmful substances. What can we do to help? Make simple changes in our daily lives. Avoid using lighter fluid. Replace aerosol deodorant and hairspray with solids, gels, or liquids. Now I want you to take 30 seconds to share one thing you learned from that section. Land pollution. Our land is also negatively impacted by toxins. In the 1960s, the average person created approximately 2.7 pounds of garbage each day. By 2007, that number had almost doubled to 4.6 pounds of garbage each day. Where does all this garbage go every day? Most of it goes into landfills where toxic substances can seep into the soil. Pesticides and fertilizers used by farmers can also soak into the land, causing pollution. Poisons in the ground are absorbed by plants and any creature that eats the plants. What can we do to help? Create less garbage by recycling. Drink water from the faucet instead of in plastic bottles. Look for foods grown without pesticides. Now I want you to take 30 seconds to share one thing that you learned from that paragraph. Acid rain. Acid rain illustrates how pollution spreads and impacts all aspects of the environment. When air pollution combines with water in the air, acid rain is created. Gases that come from vehicles and power plants pollute the air, making acid rain possible. Wherever acid rain falls, it damages the environment. It can kill plants on land as well as creatures in lakes and streams. It is corrosive enough to damage stone structures. It eats away at stone, causing permanent damage to buildings and statues. What can we do to help? We can drive more fuel-efficient cars and reduce our energy consumption. Now I want you to take about 30 seconds to explain what you learned from that paragraph. River pollution. Pollution threatens all of our water sources. There are many toxins in our homes. These include paint thinner, cleaning supplies, bug spray, and fertilizer. When toxins are washed down the drain, they get into our sewers and eventually our rivers. If these toxins are buried in landfills, the rain can flush them into rivers. There, they harm the fish and other forms of life. What can we do to help? We can limit our use of water and discard household chemicals safely. I want you to take about 30 seconds to explain what you learned from that paragraph. Dead lakes. Our lakes are also damaged by pollution. It disturbs the balance between a variety of plants and living creatures. Pollution falls or seeps into the lake. Different types of pollution can make water plants like algae grow rapidly. The algae block the sunlight and use up all the water's oxygen. All living organisms in the lake, including fish, die. The lake is dead. A dead lake cannot support life. The animals that relied on the lake for food are also at risk. What can we do to help? We can remember that polluting the land means polluting the water. Stopping the litter that enters our lakes can make a difference. Now I want you to take about 30 seconds to explain what you learned from that passage. Ocean pollution. In addition to polluting lakes and rivers, many of the toxic substances produced on land end up in our oceans. When waste pours into the sea, it may be eaten by small fish. When bigger fish and sea animals eat those fish, the toxins build up to dangerous levels. Mercury impacted tuna in this way. As creatures poisoned with mercury were eaten by other animals, the mercury levels rose to unsafe levels. Eventually, the mercury levels found in tuna made them unsafe for humans to eat. The effects of pollution on sea life and shore wildlife can be terrible. We cannot think of the ocean as a place to dump our waste. What can we do to help? Recycle and dispose of our trash responsibly. Get rid of pet waste properly so that it doesn't contaminate our water sources. Pick up after your dog. Flush the waste down the toilet and double wrap it or throw it in the trash. Composting the waste makes it safe and fertilizes your yard at the same time. Now I want you to take about 30 seconds to tell me what you learned from that passage. Your responsibility. It's time to come clean about toxic pollution. Many industries pollute, but so do individuals. People drive cars, create waste, and litter. All of these actions have a negative impact on our environment. We all need to do our part to protect our air, land, and water from toxic waste. What else can you do to help? Now I want you to take about 30 seconds to share one thing you learned from that paragraph with the class. Now that you have listened to Coming Clean about toxic pollution, tell me something you shared that you think was the most important thing you shared while we were reading. Now I want you to return to the author's purpose section on page 161. Did the author have another purpose for writing this passage? If so, I want you to add it to your answers.